Schools around the country are getting ready to reopen for the school year, and one North Carolina school district will supply school staff with more than textbooks and erasers. Some of them are getting AR-15 rifles. The Madison County Sheriff's Department has placed one AR-15 assault rifle in each of the county's 6 schools. School officials say the weapons will be used by school resource officers in the event of an active shooter event. The action was spurred by the Uvalde Elementary School massacre that took lives of 19 students and 2 teachers. The sheriff's spokesman says the weapons will be locked inside a safe when they are not being used. This is where we come to in our country. It's kind of embarrassing to even have this conversation, but with the school shootings that we've encountered so far this year, our mass shootings compared to just the rest of the world, period, we wonder what we have to do. We don't want teachers on the weekend having to go to a shooting range instead of maybe going and being creative for their class, for their students in class, but this is what we've come to. But I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. I mean, you're talking about one AR-15, you're talking about having it locked up. If something happens, someone has to go get it out of the I mean, there's a lot to this than just simply having that on hand if needed. So I don't necessarily agree with this.
Yeah, I don't like this at all. It just, when you send your, and I understand it's the times that we live in, but when you send your kids to school, you want your kids to learn and get an education. You're not sending them there to be around guns, but you do want them to be safe should something happen. But studies have shown that when you have guns in school, when teachers are armed, when administrators in the school are armed, it negatively affects black and brown kids more than it would in a white school district or a white county. And so this is a little concerning for me. I definitely would wonder, are there other alternatives than stocking the school with AR-15s? And AR-15s, yeah. I mean, why AR-15?
I'm honestly, I don't have children, so I'm not nearly as triggered as either of you have to be hearing the story as parents. But that was my absolute first question, was what do the parents feel about this, sending your child to school with an AR-15 in the classroom? Romeo, second question was, who's going to go get the gun? Who's going to be responsible? We saw here in Uvalde, Texas, hundreds of police officers couldn't even find a way to get down the classroom to get one class of students out that we're going to trust that that we don't even know mentally if these teachers are set up to handle. I know if I was a teacher and you told me I had to have an AR-15, right. I'm terrified of that.
Well, they said it's going to be an officer that's on the premises, but like he can be in 3 different places at one time.
That's
right?
my point.
Yeah.
In Uvalde, we had hundreds of police officers that were there that couldn't stop one person. So how are we going to expect for one teacher or 2 teachers, one officer to go and get this gun when there's an armed person inside the school? It just doesn't, Mimi, to your point, seem like the most sound decision, but it also seems like something the NRA would like. You know, like we want to get more guns out. The answer to fight guns is to get more guns out into the places that we see gun action versus finding ways to strategically stop these people from getting guns to enter the school. It's like we're just going to fight fire with fire, and it just seems like an unthought out process and answer to a problem for me.
I mean, because in my mind, I'm seeing a gunfight out in a classroom. That's not what you want.
No,
you know,
not what you want.
I mean, and then not to think too, you might have a person mentally not there, right? Mentally not there that goes to get this gun and say, I'm going to be the one to do this. And like you say, I just see a full out mob movie play out at the dispense, exactly, of the children.
You know, and I got a friend back home, I won't even mention his name, but you know, it's kind of sad when his child comes home and say, well, we talked about if someone invades our school with a gun and how they're told to ball up in a circle and play dead. Imagine that. That's the conversation that your kids are having to have at a school just in case something like this happens. No one wants to talk like that, but it's unfortunate.